in the previous episode. How many albums does Metallica really have? But no matter the number, Megadeth still got more. Or does it? Actually, yeah. No matter how you count it, Megadeth still ahead. And even with Garage Inc., S&M, and Lulu, Metallica still 3 albums behind. And to catch up, they would need about 20 years, considering their current pace and that Dave quits. And the gap is even bigger if we are to consider the gray area albums of Megadeth. Alright, let's see. As far as I'm concerned, Megadeth don't have their own Lulu and S&M. And no, we are not going to count whatever the hell was that in 2014. Also, Megadeth never made their own full covers album, their own Garage Inc., if you will. Although they do have covers on the normal album, something that Metallica never did in their turn. And the same with best of compilations. None in Metallica, and about 100, give or take, in the other band. Well, some of those did feature new songs, like Kill the King on Capital Punishment, or War Chest, an epic collection of all kinds of stuff, including rarities. And still, I think we should not include those. But there's one Megadeth record that is like an almost normal album. It consists of mostly original tracks, recorded in the studio and never released on the previous albums. And so why it does not count as a normal Megadeth album? Well, because it's less than 1 minute, short than half hour. The minimum lowest threshold to be considered an LP, long play. And so it's just an EP. A big-ass one, but still a mini one. However, that does not stop some fans from counting it alongside Rust in Peace and others. And the songs are bangers. And so meet Hidden Treasures, an almost Megadeth album released in 1995 between Euthanasia and Cryptic Writings. Hidden Treasures is technically an extension of Euthanasia. This is how it was released in Europe in a special edition of Euthanasia, but it went separate release in USA and Japan. It's a collection of songs recorded over a span of 7 years, from 1986 to 1994, mostly movie soundtracks and also a couple of covers, 3 of which were even nominated for Grammys. Pretty solid as for just an EP, yeah? So let's go through all of them, let's see what's cool about them, and then try to figure out, could have Megadeth made it a regular album? Now you see why I say normal instead of regular. And the first cool thing about the album is its artwork. At the first glance, nothing special, appears to be just a piece of a map of Arizona around Phoenix. That's where Megadeth were residing at that time. But if you look closely, you'll find some imposters, namely the names of the songs from the album, hidden among all the real places. Yeah, I'll keep the fun for you, so go find them all after watching this video. And of course, it would not be Megadeth's album without its mascot, Vic Rattlehead, somewhere on the cover. Not on the front cover though, but he's still there, which also kinda legitimizes it as a normal Megadeth album. And so let's do these songs, starting with No More Mr. Nice Guy. It is of course a cover of Alice Cooper's anthem recorded for the horror movie Shocker. It's like the closest Megadeth ever came to glam. All guitars done by Mustaine there, because there was the brief time Megadeth did not have the second guitarist.
No More Mr. Nice Guy was done at a period where we had just secured Nick. I called him up one day about 5 o'clock in the morning and I said, "Are you ready?" Because I had just been done with Chuck. We had fired Chuck Beeler and we went and we jammed and Alice Cooper asked us to do the song. David Ellefson hates that song.
And then goes, "You push me to the crack point."
It was done during the Countdown to Extinction demo tape sessions.
But it was booted off. Marty Friedman suggested that's because it was less consistent with the rest of the record, but to me it would totally fit and it really kicks ass. Especially that bass line with that kind of high pedal accent which reminds me of Wake Up Dead. And this part, also done by Ellefson, by the way, still cracks me up.
Hey, let's go! We had Junior in there and he goes, "Sedate me? Cool. Straight jacket? Ah!" You know, and at the time it was really funny because, you know, I mean...
And now I'm feeling like I'm getting angry again.
The more of you that I inspect,
Can you believe that Mustaine wrote it in literally just one day? What a riff, and the groove, and the solo, of course, Marty rips as always. It was born in a time between Countdown, Euthanasia, and became another soundtrack, now to Last Action Hero, with the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger asked us to do Last Action Hero. We said, well, what's the movie going to be about? What's the plot like? You know, it's going to be high action, kind of really intense, aggro kind of flick. So that's how Angry Again came out.
And now, I'll lay you down to sleep. Praise the Lord, my soul to keep. No, not Ender Sandman, but Goodwill. Another movie soundtrack, and it features a prayer that's actually common in America, and it's not written by James Hetfield. It just coincided that Metallica also used it in a song that came just a month after Go to Hell. But because Sandman got so big, people started to associate the prayer with that song and not Go to Hell. And according to Mustaine's memoir, that was the moment he realized he might never escape the shadow of his former band. And yeah, the song is really dark and heavy as hell, no pun intended, and I even double-checked if it's really in standard tuning. It is.
Go to Hell was a song that we were approached to do by the Bill and Ted bogus movie, and we had been contacted by Tom Wally at Interscope. Had totally different lyrics to it, and he said, he read the lyrics and he goes, Dave, those aren't Mustaine lyrics. Cool. I'll make it so harsh it'll make your toenails turn green. I'll give you toxic shock, you know, and so I wrote something that was just absolutely just disgusting.
99 Ways to Die. Probably the most intricate and unique Megadeth track on the list, and maybe even ever. You know, those acoustic fills in the pre-choruses. I mean, how do you even think of doing that kind of stuff, especially if you're, Megadeth? And that verse riff, that is as tough or even tougher to sing over than Holy Wars. Marty told a funny story about how tape got jammed, which almost ruined the whole session of 99 Ways to Die. Good thing it was the chorus that got messed up, so they could copy-paste it.
When David brought up the idea of 99 Ways to Do Anything, on the bus we were talking about it, and like everybody think about the most horrible way to die, the most disgusting way to go, you know. The song was born from that basic idea, and musically it just came right together. It was a real Megadeth, heavy, anthemic guitar type of thing, and that's the same day that we did
Paranoid. Recorded for a Black Sabbath tribute compilation, Nativity in Black, done in one take, in the moment, and that's why Nick Menza just kept going.
We had just finished cutting 99 Ways to Die, and we had this massive tone, and it was just buff and balls out guitars and everything. And we still had our instruments on, and we were jamming, and Max said, well, just do whatever, and I'll roll the tape. And we rolled one take of Paranoid, and that's it. 99 Ways to Die happened in about 3 days, and Paranoid took about 12 minutes.
Yeah, dance. Another underappreciated Megadeth masterpiece created right after Euthanasia for yet another movie. And here's how Dave describes this song.
Megadeth-esque Stairway to Heaven, but that way.
And finally, the closing track of Hidden Treasures is a cover of Problems by Sex Pistols, which is Megadeth's second Sex Pistols cover after Anarchy in the UK from So Far So Good So What?
When we recorded So Far So Good So What, we set out to record Problems by the Pistols, and a manager that we had who is no longer among the living because he got in a fight with his brother over a bologna sandwich and died in a knife fight. He said we should do Anarchy because we should be a political band instead of, a Disturbed band, but Problems is the one that we chose in the first place.
And Problems was previously released as a B-side on a Tout le Monde single. Speaking of which, look what I found here too. Another unreleased Megadeth song which somehow did not make Treasures. I'm becoming suspicious, but I am superstitious, so let's look up other singles from Euthanasia just for the good measure. And there you go, another one! Crown of Worms, leftover from Countdown to Extinction. And then there's also a couple of unreleased Euthanasia songs that were released in 2004 reissue of the album. Absolution and Millennium of the Blind. And so they did have more stuff that could have been included in Hidden Treasures, 4 songs, but just one would have been enough to make it an LP. And so why didn't they? In fact, he did. New World Order, another one. New World Order. The demo was a bonus on the Japanese edition and also on the 2007 reissue of the EP, where it was a bit different from the versions released before. It was more complete, the mixing was cleaner and got a few more guitar parts, like that melody kind of thing. Then it was also remade from scratch for the 13 album in 2011. And so was another unreleased one from Euthanasia, we mentioned it, Millennium of the Blind. But its demo version was even less of a complete song than New World Order was. And so I suppose being unfinished was the reason why both were omitted from Hidden Treasures. Yeah, I should have warned you that it's time for assumptions, theory, and bullshit.
And each one has its own separate concept. And I think that, like he was saying before about the fans, I mean, if we were to just shuffle off all of our B-side material that we don't think is worthy of being on our album, that would be a real lame move.
And still, don't forget, we got Crown of Worms and Absolution and a few more, so they were so close, literally 44 seconds, and that's it. Maybe, just maybe, they kept it an EP to not mess their catalog. At that point, it was almost entirely just normal albums. It was still 6 years before the first best-of compilation comes, Capital Punishment, in which is funny, in one Q&A, Dave Mustaine was asked by a fan to grade Megadeth's albums, and Dave noted, you forgot Hidden Treasures and Capital Punishment. So he also considered the best-of compilation, the only one at that point, a regular album. I said regular, wow. So yeah, I don't know, what do you think? Write in the comments. And by the way, I don't know about you, but I've seen none of those movies that Megadeth did soundtracks for. Even Last Action Hero, maybe I saw it when I was a kid, but not in my adult life. And I see it kind of funny that these films, which are for the most part obscure, maybe some of those are bad, I don't know, never seen them. And Megadeth still, they went extra mile to do the best soundtracks they could, the best songs they could at the time, which could even compete with the stuff they put on the albums. So that's +1 to the reason why we should count Hidden Treasures as a normal Megadeth album. Right, if you like this video, push that like, and you can support me by the links in the description, become member, or donate on Buy Me Coffee and Patreon. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, friend.